Holocaust. 1. Destruction or slaughter on a mass scale, especially caused by fire or nuclear war. 2. A Jewish sacrificial offering that is burned completely on an altar. Many people believe Elie Wiesel made the word Holocaust famous. We'll talk more about him later on. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party did not begin anti-Semitism, but they did attempt to use their power to wipe the Jews off the earth. This hatred began as a desire to purify the German population from Jews. Hitler longed for the Aryan race, a pure, blonde-haired, blue-eyed population. The Jews were not the first people persecuted in Hitler's purification plan. The euthanasia program began in order to purge Germany of the mentally ill and handicapped, and by the end of the war, over 75,000 people were killed. In 1933, Hitler rose to power, and about 2 months after, the prison camp Dachau opened to contain political opponents. On April 1st, 1933, Nazis began to boycott the Jewish businesses. The signs in this photograph translate as follows: "Do not buy from Jews. Shop in German shops." 6 days after, on April 7th, Jewish lawyers had their practicing licenses revoked. In July, approximately 300,000 people were sterilized because they possessed hereditary problems. Hitler also made homosexuality a crime, punishable by imprisonment and, in some cases, death. As Jews continued to lose their rights, Hitler continued to escalate his negative treatment. The prejudice reached a new high on November 9th, 1938, with the Kristallnacht, the night of the broken glass. About 1,000 synagogues were burned, and the windows of Jewish businesses were smashed. In the end, approximately 100 Jews were killed, and 30,000 were imprisoned. In September of 1939, German police forced tens of thousands of Polish Jews into the ghettos. The ghettos were basically prison cities separated from the rest of the population. On July 31st, 1941, Indoslum, also known as the Final Solution, came into effect, and Jews were marked with yellow stars to show their heritage. This solution did not turn straight into what we think of as the Holocaust. The Germans took control of some Russian tracts of land, along with Russian prisoners of war and Jews. Some began the most memorable part of the Holocaust: the concentration camps. There were 6 camps in Poland alone. The camps were as follows: Auschwitz, Belzec, Chelmo, Majdanek, Sobibor, and Treblinka. Auschwitz was the largest and most known of the camps. Over 1 million Jews, Gypsies, and prisoners of war died at Auschwitz alone. Adolf Eichmann was a key figure as far as the camps were concerned. It was not because of his hideous medical experiments or terrible treatment of the prisoners. Eichmann was a bureaucrat, and he is responsible for developing the transportation system into Auschwitz. Eichmann loved railroads, and his idea was to bring people in via rail cars. Nazis even used propaganda inside the camp, tricking prisoners into believing they would have hot soup and new clothes. Some survivors claim there were signs that said bathhouses, even though they were really gas chambers. Most Jews went into the camps healthy, and after being there years, if they were lucky enough to survive that long, became severely malnourished. Even infants were not safe from Hitler's brutal tendencies. While most Jews met their fate in the concentration camps, many fell at the hands of the Einsatzgruppen, also known as mobile killing units. The most famous account of the Holocaust can be found in the book Night, written by Elie Wiesel. This autobiography focuses on his time in Auschwitz as a boy and the struggles he faced in the camp and within himself. Memorials in Warsaw, Poland, and also in Washington, D.C., have been established to never forget the tragedy. Hitler and the Nazis are responsible for one of the largest genocides in world history. Hopefully, we as a generation can learn something from this terrible tragedy and never let anything like it happen again.